Good morning, students. Welcome to your computer class. Students, today we are going to discuss about some examples of flowchart, and I'm going to explain you how these flowcharts are drawn using different symbols. So before we do that, let's do a quick recap of what we have learned till now. So students, in flowcharts we have learned about of the definition of flowchart. We have learned about different symbols of flowcharts. We have learned about benefits and limitation, which is advantages and disadvantages of flowchart. So today let's start our class with the first example. Now students, if you look into your book, especially in page number 106, this is a very basic example which is being given. So what you have to do is you have to draw a flowchart to buy a pen from a stationery shop. So what we have to do? You are going to buy a pen from a stationery shop. Now, so first thing, we'll use the terminal box. We'll write the start, then the arrow key, which will show the flow of information. Then we will draw a parallelogram, which is the input-output box. We will mention our task. The task is taking the first step, which is taking money from your mother. Students, this is an important input box, because if you are not getting the money, you will not be able to go and buy a pen. Do you think you go to a shop and ask an uncle to give you a pen, just in case if he doesn't know you? Do you think he will give you a pen or pencil? No, he won't do that, right? He'll ask for money. So if the money is not being given, he will not be able to fulfill your order. Next step, after the arrow line, comes riding the bicycle and going to the stationery shop. Now students, if you remember, we spoke about different approaches. Here the approach can be different. If your house is nearby the shop, then you can walk down also. It is not necessary that you have to take a bicycle and go. You can walk down to the shop, or if it is little far away, then you can go with your father or mother or any relative and you can go to the shop. So that's the second thing. So it's not necessary that riding on the, here you can write it as walking down to the shop or going to the market along with the father or any relative, right? So next step is giving money to the shopkeeper. Now see students, one thing is there, most of the time when you go to the shop, you would have found that the shopkeeper first asks for money, right? But generally when we go, when your father goes, when your mother goes, or when uncle goes, or any elder person who goes, he doesn't ask for money. He will first give the good and then ask for money, right? Because he feels sometimes that the children might not bring the right amount of money to buy a thing. So they first check whether the money is complete or not. So here, giving money to the shopkeeper, not all shopkeeper does it. First you can ask for the pen also. You can take the pen, check, examine it and then pay the money. Here the example is giving money to the shopkeeper, then taking the pen. Here you can mention paying the money, because you have taken the pen in the previous step. Now you will pay the money and come back home. And at last, when the complete program gets completed, you will be using the terminal box to mention stop, right? So this is how we are drawing a flowchart. Now if you see students, we are using process box for most of the steps, right? Terminal box, we used it twice, at the start as well as at the end, and we used the input output box in our first statement, where we were asking money from the mother or father or anyone, right? So this is how we draw a flowchart. Coming to the next example, students, here what we have to do is we will have to draw a flowchart to check whether it is profit or loss. Now you would have learnt about what is profit and what is loss. So anything which a shopkeeper sells, right, is always higher than the price he has bought the product for. For example, if he has bought a product for 5 rupees, he will not sell that for 5 rupees. He will sell that for 6 rupees, 7 rupees or 8 rupees. Whatever extra money he gets after selling the product is called as profit. Just in case he bought it at 5 rupees and by mistake he sold it for 3 rupees, then he will have to bear the loss of 2 rupees, right? So this is profit and this is loss. So first let's try to understand. First thing we do is we click on the start button, and next we will read the cost price. Here we are trying to find the cost price. What is the cost price? Cost price is the one which the person pays for the product to the from where he is buying it, and selling price is the one which he sells to the customer. So read the cost price as CP, read the selling price as SP. Both of them are in the parallelogram, and parallelogram is the input output box. Then there comes the decision box, in which we are running a program to understand, is selling price greater than cost price. Just in case, if it is yes, print profit and stop. And just in case if selling price cost is less than cost price, and if the answer is no, then the second question comes, is the cost price higher than selling price? So we are trying to ascertain profit or loss. If it says yes, the cost price is the selling price is greater than cost price, then we are going to print loss. Why? Because we are selling at a lesser price in which we have bought the product. Then it comes to stop. Still, if you say no, then possibly there is a chance that you have bought the product for 5 rupees and you sold it for 5 rupees. So neither profit nor loss. Then in the next next parallelogram, which is the input output box, you are going to mention no profit, no loss, and the program ends here. So students, you have seen how they are comparing three scenarios. Either it is a profit, then the program changes. Either it is a loss, the program again changes. Else it is neither profit nor loss, right? So this is how we do the flow charts for. So this one is an example of a complex flow chart. If you see, the earlier one was a very easier one, simple steps. Here it is little bit complex. You can see the arrow lines, how it is guiding you through the stop button depending upon the solution you have created. So students, this brings us to the end of the class. So let's quickly, okay, we have a quiz here. Students, I want all of you to close your book and answer these questions. My first question is, name the mathematician who invented algorithm. Name the mathematician who invented algorithm. Yes, your answer is, if you have said Abu Zafar Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi, then your answer is correct. My next question is, who introduced flowcharts? You can pause and you can answer the question. Right? If you have mentioned it as Frank Gilbreth, your answer is correct. Frank Gilbreth, as you remember, was the member of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. Right? My next question, what is the full form of ASME? What is the full form of ASME? If your answer is, you can pause the video. If your answer is American Society of Mechanical Engineers, then your answer is correct. And if you have not answered it correct, then you are not listening to the video, because in my previous question I gave you the definition of this. Coming to the last question, which symbol do you use at the start and at the end of the flow chart? What is that box called as? Right? It is either start or stop box, or it is called as the terminal box. More frequently we call it as the terminal box. So if you have answered all the question, that means you have gone through the chapter. For those who have not answered all the question, it's time to open the book and go through a proper reading session. So we are going to stop here. I have two extra questions for homework. Our extra question number 1 is, what are the advantages of an algorithm? What are the advantages of an algorithm? And extra question number 2 is, name the person behind algorithm and flowchart. So you have to name the person behind algorithm first, and then second, the person who is behind flowchart. Students, just in case if you have any doubts or any questions related to today's topic, you can reach me through the comment section and I'll be happy to answer your question. So thank you students, and have a great day.